So I said there are over 20. However, the one that is used currently is Landsteiner's grouping system. Landsteiner's grouping system. So Landsteiner's grouping system. So it was Karl Landstein. He's an Austrian scientist. So Landsteiner's grouping system. That is what we currently use. I hope you guys are jotting these things I'm saying. Now there are two systems as postulated by Landsteiner. The first is the ABO grouping and the other one is the Rhesus grouping. The ABO grouping and the other one, I said there are two blood grouping systems as postulated by Landsteiner. I said the first is ABO grouping and the second is Rhesus grouping. ABO grouping and the second is Rhesus grouping. Now, as I said, if you knew your blood group, you will be telling me that your blood group is A, O, B, O, A, B, or O, O. This one now is on the basis of your ABO grouping. But when you now start hearing I am A positive, or you hear I am A negative, or you hear I am B positive, or I am B negative, this negative and positive here is where the Rhesus grouping comes into place. Sorry, I hope you guys are following me. Biology students. Now, the major reason we are discussing this is to describe and understand agglutination. So I'm not going to overemphasize some things. The most important thing you need to understand from this is in what combination or under what blood transfusion will agglutination occur. Once you're able to understand that majorly, and then finally your Rhesus factor, we should be good with that basically. So let's start with the ABO grouping. So you write the ABO grouping. Can you still hear me? Wow. Can you guys still hear me? Can you still hear me? Can you guys hear me?
It's breaking a little bit, but I can hear you better now.
Okay, so I said, let's get to that. So I said the ABO grouping is a grouping system dependent on antigens, antigens A and B. So the two antigens that determines the ABO grouping system is A and B. Now, just write presence or absence of either or both of them gives a blood group. Presence or absence of either or both of them. Presence or absence of either or both of them gives a blood group according to the ABO system. Are you guys done with that? Can you get? I said presence or absence. Presence or absence of either or both of the antigens gives a blood group according to the ABO grouping system. Is that clear? Should I repeat it? Should I repeat it? Can you guys still hear me? Hello? Why is my internet this shit? Can you guys see? Are you there? Okay, so we've written that, right? I can move ahead, right? Okay, now, having stated that, the next thing that you are going to write is that antigens can also be referred to as agglutinogens. Antigens can also be referred to as agglutinogens. Antigens can also be referred to as agglutinogens. Agglutinogens. Are you there? Agglutinogens. Now, having said that, you write that these antigens are located on the red blood cells. These antigens are located in the red blood cells. These antigens are located in the red blood cells. These antigens are located in the red blood cells. Are you there? Okay, full stop. Now, for every antigen present, or absent, there is a contrasting antibody in the blood serum. For every antigen present, there is a contrasting antibody in the blood serum. Antibody in the blood serum. Okay. So now, do you all know what the blood okay, the blood serum basically is just like the plasma. The only difference is that the blood serum does not contain fibrinogen. What did I say is the difference between the blood plasma and the blood serum? Okay, I've discussed the blood plasma, have I? Yes. So good. So we have that the total blood is made up of 55% of blood plasma, and this 55% of blood plasma has mostly water, about 91 to 92% water. Then you have blood proteins and the rest of them. So plasma has water, dissolved protein, and all those things, but serum is just plasma without fibrinogen. You can put that down. Serum is plasma without fibrinogen. Serum, SER, is plasma without fibrinogen. The major reason is because the fibrinogen is actually utilized for blood clotting. I have discussed blood clotting. I guess you guys were in that class. Were you in the class where I discussed blood clotting? Okay, so if you were in that class, can you run me through? Well, okay, no worries. Let's just continue. Can you run me through the processes of blood clotting? Let's start with what is the most important cell required for blood clotting to occur? I'll come back to what I'm doing, but let's run through this. Yes? How do you not know this thing? We discussed this last week now. Activates the platelets or thrombocytes. Then what happens after that? Then the thrombocytes do what? Don't you have the notes? Did I not give a note that day? Ayo. Sorry, hold on. Chill. Can you please listen? Hold on. Did I give a note that day? You have a note on this. How many of you read through that note before today's class? I'm asking a question. If nobody read, you simply say nobody read. Did anybody read through that note before today's class? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, sincerely. So the implication is that most of the investments we are putting, you want it to go to waste. Your brain simply operates by repetition. If you don't repeat things, you can't remember them. I'll keep saying this every single day till you write your exam. repetition best retention. And some of you are actually applying to study medicine and surgery, and you feel with 280 you will get medicine and surgery. You feel with your 280 or 270 you will get medicine in most schools. The competition is high. For some schools like UNN, you have 11,000 applicants for medicine, only 11,000 for medicine only. Out of that 11,000, they are only going to pick about 300. That 300 they are going to pick, they are going to cut them down to 180 because UI, the UNN's quota is just 180. So out of 11,000, the doctors that are going to graduate, first of all, 300 will enter, but 180 will graduate. If you are considering schools like UI does not accept more than their quota. UI's quota is 180. They accept 160 from JAM and the remaining 20 from direct entry. So if, for instance, 4,000 students apply to study medicine, out of 4,000, how many are they taking? 160. So my point is, for those of you that are going for competitive courses and you are not studying, I would rather take my complete class to tell you and inspire you and teach you and push you to study. Because if you don't, you are not going to do so well. I'm not trying to jinx anybody, but it's simple fact. So please, all I'm just trying to say is, let's get ourselves in order. Is this understood? Thank you. So please, this should be the last class I would ever teach a concept and come to the next class and you haven't studied it. I gave a pre-study in the last 2 classes. Most of you have not done the study, and it's bad. It's bad. It doesn't make any sense. But I'll keep doing what I'll keep doing. I'll keep pushing. I'll keep advising you. I'll keep giving you what to read. Hopefully some of you will be serious. Now let's continue. Now, the platelets produce the thrombokinases. Yes. Who is in class? I want to know who is in class. Let's first of all, who is? I have Glory in class. Glory, Mesoma, and who? Rose. And a second Mesoma. Okay, very good. Rose was definitely not in my last class, as well as Glory. So maybe that's why, because it was Precious. Is Precious in class today? Okay, she's not in class. I think it was the 2 Preciouses that were in the last one. Let's continue. So I said platelets, thrombocytes, they produce thrombokinases, which is the enzyme. This thrombokinases is also called what? I'm asking Glory because she was definitely in class. Very good. So then, what's the function of the thrombokinases? It simply converts inactive prothrombin. The process is very simple. Like if you actually did study this thing, to active thrombin. Rose, are you following? Okay, very good. And then when you have activated the thrombin, which is a protein, this thrombin will now convert your soluble fibrinogen and change it to insoluble fibrin. Now, this fibrin will now be used to form a mesh network. And that mesh network is what will enclose or cover that wound. Then those holes around the mesh network will now be blocked by cells. And after, this particular mesh will dry up and form a clot over the wound. Sorry, what I'm saying, is it making sense to everybody now? Hello? Very good. Okay. Having said that, this is the blood clot. Yeah, I just want to go back to... I just wanted to highlight this to confirm that you guys followed. Let's go back to what we are doing. So, in the ABO grouping, I gave something. I said the 2 grouping systems are ABO. And if you have an ABO, it is dependent on the presence or absence of A, antigen A or antigen B. So, with that said, I now mentioned that if you have a particular... If I put this down, write it like this. Note. If an antigen is present, if an antigen is present, a contrasting antibody a contrasting antibody. A contrasting antibody. Another name for antibody is agglutinin. Yeah, another name for antibody is agglutinin. Another name for antibody is what? Agglutinin. I hope this is clear. Okay, so what is the other name for antigen? Agglutinogen. Agglutinin. Okay, thank you. Now let's continue. So I said if a particular antigen is present, a contrasting antibody is present in the blood serum. A contrasting antibody is present in the blood serum. Are you there? Okay, good. Now I'm going to put up a table. You will help me fill up this table. Recipient, donor, because we are going to talk about agglutination. Okay, so just to help us understand this, okay, you could just write, just to help you understand it. Therefore, if a blood cell has let's start with that. Number one has, you could put like column or something. If a blood cell has antigen A, are you there?
Yes, sir.
The blood serum will have antibody what? Who can tell me? The blood serum will have what? Antibody. Contrasting now. Do you know what contrasting is? Opposite. So see A and B as opposite. So if the antigen A is in the blood cell, the blood serum will have antibody what? B. Do you understand? Hello? I can't. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Please, I hope you guys are not distracted, because understanding this thing is sometimes confusing. So let's take it again. If a blood cell has antigen A, the blood serum will have what antibody? Antibody B. Is this clear? Okay, now this indicates blood group A or AO. This indicates blood group. This indicates blood group A or AO. This indicates blood group A or AO. So what I want you to write as a note after writing that statement is that the antigen of the blood cell determines the blood group. The antigen of the blood cell determines the blood group. The antigens of the blood cells determine the blood group. The antigen of the blood cell determines the blood group. Is this fully understood? So because we have antigen A, that's why it's in blood group A. Does anybody have a question? Does anybody have a question? Okay, now I'm going to give you guys a hereditary related question. Can you please listen? A question related to hereditary. For instance, if you see a question and they tell you that two parents with blood groups AO, are you listening? Two parents with blood groups AO and OO had a child with the blood group AB. So the question I have for you is there infidelity in that home? You know what infidelity is? Is this child their child? This is the father. This is the mother. And a child, one of their children, is claiming or has the blood group AB. Please, is there infidelity in the home, or is this their child? Are they the parents of this child? They are not. Okay, so let's find out the likely blood group their children can have. So their first child might likely have A and O. It doesn't work in that order. It's random. And that's what we refer to as the law of independent assortment. But we're not going to discuss that in this class. Okay, so the second person would have AO, then OO, then OO. So the only way they can have a child like this is this. Now, do you know that it is practically impossible, Seth, for this woman to give birth to AB? Do you understand? So what likely happened in the hospital is that they exchanged her baby for somebody else. Do you guys get? Because as OO, even if you born with AB, you will get children of AO and BO. Even if you do BB, you have BO, but you will never have AB from a mother of OO. So what I'm saying, is it making sense now? So what happened in that hospital is that they exchanged the child. So the implication is that blood grouping can be used to some extent to determine paternity, but it's not entirely accurate. Do you understand? It's not entirely accurate. What is used to get it accurately is the DNA testing and stuff. So basically that. But then this is just one of the questions that I've come across in JAM. You get. So that's that basically. Now let's come back to what we are saying. So with that said, we go to the second scenario. So remember that the statements we made, can you refer to that statement again? If the blood cell, the statement before number 1, what's the statement before number 1? If the blood cell contains, can you read that statement please? I can't, nobody has that note. Okay, so if the blood cell has, okay, then number 2, antigen B. Then what will happen to the blood serum? The blood serum will contain, thank you very much, antibody. Good. Now, this indicates what blood group? Blood group B or BO. Good. Thank you. So if you are considering it, yeah, correct, yeah. So if you are considering it phenotypically, like trying to get the individual genes in them is B and nothing. Okay, so then we have the third one. If it contains, let's say no, what if it contains both antigen A and antigen B? The blood serum will have what? Yes, the blood serum will have, what antibodies will it have? And remember, the antigens there are A and B. So if A and B are both in the cell, what antibodies will they contain? They will have they will have no antibodies. Remember, once an antigen is, listen, once an antibody is present, once an antigen is present in the cell, the opposite antibody will be there. Are you getting what I'm saying? But if the two of them are there, and you have antibody A and B, it will start fighting this thing. So, because the two antigens are there will be no antibodies. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Thank you. So antibodies fight, which means if I have antigen B, I will have something that is fighting A. So now that I have antigen A and antigen B, it means that I will not have anything fighting any one of them. I hope this is clear. Now the fourth scenario is if the blood cell has neither antigen. Oh, sorry, what blood group is this? This indicates what blood group? Thank you. Blood group O, good. Meaning nothing. O or OO. Good. Hope what I'm saying is making sense to you guys. Okay, then what if it contains neither antigens? Hey, no, what did we just say? This is not O now. It's AB. It's not O, it's AB. You remember that I said in your note that the antigens in the blood cell is what determines the blood group. Sorry, did you guys get? Hello? Check your. Yeah, look at the note. I gave a note before number 2. Can you read that note? I did not. No, no, no. I said the note. The note. The note. Thank you. So if the antigen is B, it will be blood group B. But if the antigens are A and B, what will it become? Blood group what? AB. Sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Is this clear? Oh, you said AB initially. I didn't hear you sincerely. Okay, it's AB now. Huh? Huh? Oh, I have taught this thing before. Somebody eventually agrees. Okay. Let. Oh, Precious just. Oh, Precious just stepped in. It's all right. She wasn't in class initially. Well, for the sake of, don't worry, let's just continue. So, when you have neither antigens, please do not miss classes. I'm not going to be doing this thing where, because you are not in class, I have to now repeat a study I've done. It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to be doing that with you guys because we have a lot. Yes, thank you. It's only Precious that was in class and some other people. Precious. Precious. Is Precious in class? Hello? Precious. Have I lost connection? Can you guys still... Okay. Okay, let's continue. I thought I lost connection. Oh yeah, so... Yeah, the rest of you, did you understand? Besides Precious. You guys know why it's AB, right? Okay, let's continue. Okay, very good. So, I said, let's go to the fourth one. If it contains neither antigens A nor B, what would the blood serum contain? Yes, I'm asking a question. They don't have antigen A, they don't have antigen B. So what would the blood serum contain? What antibodies would they contain? They will not contain they don't have antigens, which means they will have antibodies. Do you understand? If there is an absence of an antigen, it would be the presence of that corresponding antibody. So now that they don't have antigens, it means that they will have both antibodies A and antibodies B. Is it confusing? Okay, so let's continue. I was saying something initially. Let's do this quickly, please. This is not the important part, but if you understand this, it will help us when we get to those important parts. So, neither antigens A nor B means that there is no antigen, which means there will now be the two antibodies. Here, there were the two antigens, no antibodies, which means now that we have both antigens, now that we have no antigens, there will be the two antibodies. Sorry, do you guys get it? Okay, let's take it again. If you noticed here, we have both antigen A and B. The implication is that there will be no antibodies. But when we don't have no antigens, you know, when I say neither means no, right? So antigens A is not there, antigens B is not there. It means that the two antibodies will now be present in the blood cell. Does it make sense to you? Okay, so that's that. Now, what blood group? Remember, the blood group is dependent on the antigens present or absent. So this indicates what blood group. What? I didn't get you. Blood group what? Exactly. So it indicates blood group O, or you say O. Correct. So that's that. I'm sure this is clear, so we can move ahead. Done? I want to move ahead. Are you done writing? Are you done writing? Very good. Okay, so let's get to it. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about quickly is agglutination or blood clumping. Please put this down. Agglutination. or blood clumping. Please, I did not say blood clotting. I said blood clumping. This is where most of your questions will be coming from with respect to blood group. So please take note of this. Agglutination or blood clumping. Agglutination or blood clumping. Is this clear? Let's hasten up a little bit because yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, moving ahead, when you talk about agglutination, you could just quickly write. Agglutination is the clustering of blood cells. Agglutination is the clustering of blood cells. Clustering. You know what clusters mean? Like the blood cells just come together at a particular point. So I said it is the clustering of blood cells. Can you guys still hear me? It is the clustering of blood cells as a result of corresponding antigen in donor's blood cell and antibody in recipient's blood. Antigen in donor's blood cell and antigen in recipient's blood serum. So the question I have for you is, do you all know what corresponding is now? So I said when you're talking about it in this context, you're looking at like where you have similarities, they are corresponding. You get, when you have similarities, they are corresponding. So specifically in this context, when I say corresponding antigens in donor's blood cell and antibodies of recipient, it means that if the donor has antigen A, and then inside the blood of the recipient there is antibody A, antibody would attack. When you say antibody A, it means something that attacks A. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Can you guys still hear me? Good. So anytime you talk about an antibody is anything that attacks something. So if you say antibody A, it means that any A that is coming in, this guy will begin to attack it. So if you have an antigen of A coming in, the antibody A will start to attack it and lead to what? Agglutination. Is it clear? Okay, so we are going to now look into a table where we are going to be discussing or highlighting these things in details. So let's consider this. So if I have a donor and it's blood group A, it should have antigen A, right? But what will be the antibody here? It will be antibody what? B. Is it not? Exactly. Okay. So what if I have blood group B? What is the antigen in blood group B? It will be antigen B. Please class, what will be the antibody? Antibody A. Thank you. Okay. Then the next one, if I have antigen, that's blood group AB, it means that I have antigen A and B, and I have no antibodies. Is it clear? Sorry, can I continue? Good. Then finally, if I have blood group O, it means I have no antigens and then antibody A and B. Now, remember, what attacks is the antibody of the recipient. You can actually put that down. You get, or note, just note. It is the antibody of the recipient that attacks. It is the antibody of the recipient that attacks, not that of the donor. The antibody of the donor does not attack. What attacks is the antibody of the recipient. One of the illustrations I used to describe this. Have you written this so I can go ahead? It is the antibodies of the recipients that attack. My medicine, my paracetamol. Okay, you guys heard me. I was saying something. Now, one of the illustrations I used to explain this is, if, for instance, a thief comes into a house, please, who has the right to attack? The person that is in the house, or the person coming in? Exactly. So it is the antibody that is already inside, or the recipient. That's the recipient. The recipient is the one collecting. So it is the antibodies of the recipients, those ones are already residing there, that will begin to attack anybody that is coming in. These antibodies that are coming in do not have a right to attack. I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. So, is it good? So anytime you're considering this, what you're considering for the donor is antigen. Don't remove your mind from antibodies for donor. For recipients, you consider antibodies. So let's go on. If we have A, we know that this is antigen A now. I don't need to write it. Antibody B. Abi? Then for blood group B, it will have antibody A. Right? Right? Then for blood group AB, it will have no antibodies. Are you following? Okay, and then now before I even continue, sir, did you guys notice that here that we have no antibodies? It means that it will have nobody to attack. Are you following? Do you get? Hello? Because it has no antibodies, nobody will attack, which means it will allow everything. It will allow everything to come in. Thank you. Sorry, there was a break in transmission. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, very good. So let's continue. So as I said, no antibodies means it has nobody to fight, which means it will accept everything that is coming in. That is why these guys are referred to as universal recipients or acceptors. We'll find that out. Okay, then finally, in blood group O, you have antibody A and antibody B. Do not mind my handwriting. I presume you guys can see this or understand. Let me try to reduce the brush size. Oh no, that's too small. Okay, so let's continue. Now, whenever you see bad means agglutination. Then good means no agglutination. You can put this down. No agglutination. I said bad, agglutination. Good, no agglutination. When there is no agglutination, it means you can transfuse blood. Yes, bad means agglutination. Then good means no agglutination, which means yes, you can transfuse blood. Because agglutination is a bad thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Agglutination, clustering of is a bad thing. You get. So when you have no agglutination, is a good thing, which means you can transfuse blood. Okay, let's get to it. Now, class, are we all there? Are we still here? I think yeah, where was I? So I was here. I said that if we are considering the first one, antigen A entering where we have antibody B, please, would there be any problem? Remember, for there to be problem, the antibody of the recipient has to be the same thing as the antigen of the donor. So would there be any issue in this case? Hello? Exactly, so there will be no agglutination. Is this clear? Okay, sorry, is this clear? Okay, now can we continue? Can we continue? Okay, what if blood group B is donating? Okay. So if blood group B is donating, you have antigen B donating to A where there is antibody B. Are you noticing that the antibody of the recipient now corresponds with the antigen of the donor? So would there be agglutination here? Remember, yes, there will be agglutination. The reason is because A contains something that fights B, so anything that has antigen B that is coming in, it will fight it. So agglutination will occur here. What about here? When AB is entering A, would there be any problem? Yes, because there is antigen B, so this antibody B will start fighting the B, so agglutination. Now, here that has no antigen, it has no antigen. Please, would this guy see anything to attack? Which means there will be no agglutination. So which means that somebody that has blood group A can only accept blood from somebody of blood group A and blood group O. If you try to accept blood from blood group B, even if it is your father, your mother, your sweetest boyfriend and girlfriend, you are going to die off. Sorry, not you, the person will die off. I hope this is clear. Okay, very good. Okay, let's go to B. Now, hello? What's up? What's up? Any issues? Okay, right. Okay, so let's continue. So, if you have blood group A donating to blood group B, would there be a problem?
No, look at your stage card.
Yeah. Would there be any problem? Yeah. So you notice that antibody A, there will be problem. Thank you. Agglutination. I hope people are following. Now, what if antibody like this blood group B is donating? Would there be any issue? There will be no issue, so no agglutination. A B inco. You know there is A here now. It both has A and B, so this antibody A will start attacking the agglutination. Good. What about here? There is no antigen, so no problem. Agreed? So which means blood group B can only accept from B and O. Are you following? Now, are you noticing the trend? The trend here is that O can give to A, O can give to B. In fact, O can give to everybody. That's why blood group O are referred to as universal donors. All right, let's continue. We'll find that out. Now, and if you have recipient AB, it has no antibodies, which means it will not fight any blood. Do you understand? Hello? Are you guys following? Hello? Have I lost you all? Okay, good. You had a question? Oh, okay, good. Very good. Let's continue. So as I was saying that because antibodies are things that fight, which means if you have antibody A, it will fight any of blood group A. Anything that has blood group A, it will fight it, which means it will not allow it agglutination. Now that we have no antibodies, will it fight anything? No. Which means it will accept A, it will accept B, it will accept AB, it will accept O. Does it make sense? Good. Then finally we have good. Now, finally, we have blood group O. Blood group O has antibodies A and B, which means it will fight any blood group A and fight any blood group A, B, or fight any blood group A and B. So, agglutination, will it occur here? Think again. This antibody will fight this blood group. Will it occur? Now, let's think. Remember, antibody A, listen. The recipients, you are considering their antibodies. So antibody A will fight blood group A, it will fight blood group B. And once it's fighting, it means agglutination. So because it has antibody A to fight A, remember, corresponding antibody and antigen means agglutination. No, X means agglutination. Do you understand? It means that agglutination will occur. Somebody is confused. Is it now clear? Okay, I just want to confirm, is it clear finally before I continue? Okay, now antibody A and antibody B is present in O, which means if it sees A, please, will it attack this B? Yes, it has antibody B, so it will attack B, so agglutination. What about AB? It has both A and B, so it will attack AB, agglutination. What about here? Here has no antigens. So will it see anything to attack? No. So which means, will it occur here? So that's that. So thank you. So which means if you are blood group O, you can only accept blood from blood group O. Do you understand? What I'm saying, is it making sense? But if you are blood group AB, anybody can give you blood. Anybody can give you blood. But then this is the ABO grouping. We are going to go into the next one, which is the Rhesus grouping. So I would like you to put down this table. So we'll go into, before you, are you done? Did you write this table down? Okay, good. Now the next thing you are going to write after this table, write conclusion. Blood group AB are universal recipients. Blood group AB are universal recipients. I don't think I need to explain what that means, or do I? Exactly. Good. While blood group O are universal donors. While blood group O are universal donors. Now, did you also notice that AB can only give AB? It can't give anybody. The only person AB can give is AB. And O can only accept from O. AB can only give AB. Check as donor, bad, donor, bad, donor, bad. But the only place donor is accepted is when it is giving AB. As a recipient, bad. But the only place it allows recipients is O. Well, these are like major things. If you understand this whole thing, you don't need to cram anything. That's why I took my time to explain it, so that you won't be confused in the hall. If you see an antibody attacks the blood group of that letter. So antibody B means it will attack blood group B, which means if it's blood group B that is entering, it will attack its agglutination. If AB is entering, still agglutination because it has B. You get what I'm saying? So let's leave that. Okay, now having said that, we'll go into quickly the Rhesus grouping. Okay, so quickly write. The Rhesus grouping is as a result of the presence of Rhesus antigens. The presence or absence, of Rhesus antigens. I said the Rhesus grouping is dependent on the presence or absence of the Rhesus antigens. Yeah. The Rhesus antigens. Is it still breaking? Okay, so I said that the Rhesus grouping is as a result of the presence or absence of the Rhesus antigens in the blood cell membrane. Presence or absence of the Rhesus antigens in the blood cell membrane. Okay, very good. So let's continue. So as I said, now the Rhesus antigens include C, capital C, small letter C, comma, then you have D, then you have capital E, small letter E. These are the 5 Rhesus antigens. So you could put down that there are 5 Rhesus antigens which include these: C, C, D, E, E. There are 5 Rhesus antigens which include these. However, the most important Rhesus antigen is Rhesus antigen D. So if Rhesus antigen D is present in the cell membrane, the blood is said to be Rhesus positive. The blood is said to be Rhesus positive. If Rhesus antigen D is present in the cell membrane, the blood is said to be Rhesus positive. Is it clear? Thank you. Now, on the other hand, you write if Rhesus antigen D is absent in the cell membrane. The blood is said to be Rhesus negative. I can hear. Why are we making noise in the background? Can we still hear what I'm saying? Hello, what? Okay, it's all right. Good. It's all right. I understand. I heard you. Okay, thank you. Are we done writing this so I can continue? Are we done writing this? Okay, very good. Now, what all these positive and negative means is, listen, no, when you say that somebody's blood group is O positive, it means that the person has Rhesus antigen D present. If you say that it is O negative, it means the person does not have antigen D. Am I making myself clear? Please, antigen D, I said if you have O positive, the positive means antigen D is present. Negative means antigen D is not present. Please, Rhesus antigen is not a disease. Like, it's not a sickness. It's not like HIV positive. So when you say somebody is Rhesus positive, the person is not sick. I hope this is clear. Before some of you will be like, I'm O positive, or does it mean I have Rhesus? It's not a sickness. I hope what I'm saying is clear. Okay, very good. So let's move ahead from that. Now, the most abundant blood type existing in the world is O positive. O positive makes about 35% of the world's population. O positive makes about 35% of the world's population. After O positive, you have O negative, which makes about, not O negative, sorry, A positive. A positive blood makes about 30% of the world population. So if, for instance, we were to do a random check, are you all listening? Hello, are we in class? Hello, can we hear me? Okay, so I did a random experiment. Thank you, sorry. I did a random experiment in the last class. My roommates, about 4 of them, the ones that knew their blood group, I asked them their blood group, and they answered in the class. And we noticed that most of them, or all of them in fact, were all Rhesus positive. What does that tell us? About 85% of the world population is Rhesus positive. So you can put that down. About 85% of the world population is Rhesus positive. Now, but just note, the rarest blood type, most rare blood type is AB negative. This is what we call the golden blood. What did I call this? The golden blood. Basically, negatives occur when negative parents get married. So if an A negative father gets married to an AB negative mother, one of the child is likely going to be AB negative. But then, as I said, it's based on, when we get to hereditary and variation, specifically hereditary, you find out that there is a rule called the rule of independent assortment, which means it's possible that A and B might never meet. We'll discuss that when we get there. Let's just move ahead for now. So that's that basically. So the golden blood, which is the rarest blood type, is AB negative. It makes about 1% of the world's entire population. Now, how does Rhesus positive and negative affect us? Majorly where it affects is with respect to childbirth. I told us a story in the last class. Most of you were not there. But I had this woman in the yard I was living in some years ago. After her first child, every other fetus that she conceives dies off. and she would go to shrine, she would go to pastor, she would go to where so many places, and the problem was still there. Now it was later on. I was actually talking with my mom. I wasn't even a medical student at the time. I was like, Mom, I think this thing has to do with Rhesus factor. I think I was still studying my other course then, and I told her that this thing likely has to do with Rhesus. That they should go and check it in the hospital. That if she is a Rhesus negative woman, she is likely going to have stillbirth as a result of Rhesus positive children. Now let's explain that. So listen, and it is not a death sentence. I take it again. It is not what? A death sentence. What you need to do is, thank you. You need to go to the hospital before, after each childbirth. Once you give birth to a child, you are supposed to take an antibody suppressant. Once you suppress that antibody, you can give birth to as many children as possible. It's not a death sentence. You get what I mean? So that's that basically. But it's important you know your Rhesus factor so that you wouldn't have to experience it. After your first child, you will know exactly what to do. So it's important. Majorly, as I said, is if the woman is Rhesus negative. So let's consider this situation. If a Rhesus negative girl marries a Rhesus positive man or boy, what is likely going to happen? Now, because of the positive, the children are likely going to be. The children will be Rhesus positive. Are we there? Are we there? Now, the first point you write is there would be no complication for the first child. There will be no complication for the first child. There would be no complication for the first child. Are we there? Now, let me tell you why. We already know that in the connection to the mother and the child is the placenta. So if this is the child, let's just use round, and this is the mother. The connection between the mother and the child is the placenta. Hope you know that blood cells do not pass through the placenta. Hope we know that. Good. So which means the mother cannot transfer her blood to the child. The highest that can happen for the child is transmission of nutrients and antibodies. So you can put that down. Antibodies and nutrients can be transfused from mother to child, but not blood cells. Antibodies and nutrients can be transfused from mother to child, but not blood cells. Antibodies and nutrients can be transfused from mother to child through the placenta, but not blood cells. But not blood cells. But not blood cells. Are we there? Okay, good. So now, where does the complication start? Now, during the birth of the first child, when the placenta is cut, the umbilical cord is cut, I meant to say, usually there's an interaction between the blood of the child and the mother. Before we start writing, let me just explain. If you cut this umbilical cord to, when the child is born now, they have to cut the umbilical cord. There is usually an interaction. So the child's blood being Rhesus positive, if it enters the mother's blood, which is Rhesus negative, remember that Rhesus negative does not have anything to do with positive. So once a Rhesus factor enters, the body will see this Rhesus positive blood as a pathogen. Do you get what I'm saying? It will see it as a foreign body. Now, because it sees it as a foreign body, it will start creating things that will attack it. And what are those things that it will create? It will create body D. Sorry, are we following? Good, good. So for the first one, now notice that this child's blood enters the mother, but they have caught the child and separated the child from the mother, which means no problem. Now, the antibodies that are produced was not transferred. It simply stayed in the mother's body. Are you guys following what I'm saying? Okay, good. Now, when there is now the second conception, that second child, provided the dad is positive, the second child would also be positive. Now, see what happens. If you have the mother and you have the child, this child is Rhesus positive. Remember that at second conception, the mother already has antibody D produced and stored in her body. Am I communicating with you? Are we following? Good. Now that antibody would pass through the placenta and start entering the child's body. As it is entering the child's body, remember that the blood of the child is completely Rhesus positive. This antibody will enter there and start killing all of them. Are you following? Sorry, are we good? As it starts killing all of them, eventually the child becomes asphyxiated and the child dies. Hence, this is what we refer to as erythroblastosis fetalis. What did I call this? Erythroblastosis fetalis. Erythroblastosis fetalis. So it is basically where you have excessive killing of the blood cells of the fetus. So as a result of this effect now. So remember, first child is safe, but once you have the second child and the antibodies are present in the mother, it will pass into the child because antibodies and nutrients can pass through the placenta. The blood cell will not pass, but antibodies can. You get what I'm saying? So that's that basically. So eventually, it's stillbirth. That's what we refer to as stillbirth. So one of the things that causes this stillbirth is this Rhesus issue, where the child dies in the womb. You get? So that's that basically about that. So when you notice in the east or in the Igbo land, they will say it's Obanje. You get? Obanje is like, it's not like witch per se, but it's like a child eater. You are eating your children. That's what they call them. But it's not spiritual. It's basically because when you are getting married, you guys did not consider your Rhesus factors. You only checked for your genotypes. So when now you check for both Rhesus factor and genotypes before you get married. I hope this is clear. Yeah. In the case of genotypes, ASAS is a no because there is a chance of an SS child. It's a no matter how lovey-dovey you people are. You understand? ASAS should be a no. Is this clear? Okay, very good. Thank you. Now this is a no, complete no. But if you have Rhesus positive and Rhesus negative, it is actually possible. That's Rhesus positive man, Rhesus negative woman. You need to know. Why you need to know is not so that you will cancel the marriage. It's so that the woman will take the medication she needs to take after the first conception. Sorry, I hope what I'm saying is making sense. So this one can work. Even though if the woman does not know, it will lead to complications. But this can work. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. Okay, very good. So that's that basically.